Hey everyone, today we are going to be doing like a bronzy glowy look. I'm just going to give you like 5 tricks that just give you more of that almost airbrushed look, like you see in magazines, and super glowy and dewy. I don't know, I think it's just fun for summer and just evening outs or even like to the beach. It looks natural enough that you could wear it like an everyday thing. So what I'm going to do is trying to lighten all the shadows. So kind of under the eye area and near the tear duct, around the nose, the corners of the mouth, the outside of the eye. And of course this isn't going to lighten very much. This is just brightening it slightly, and then we'll do more glowy colors to brighten it even more. A little bit under the eyebrow bone. Okay. And obviously you're just concealer all over the face, but this is in a lighter shade of what you would normally wear for the dark areas. Okay. So then the first trick is using a highlighter. I'm using High Beam by Benefit. And it's just a very pearly, iridescent, like really soft pink. So I just dab it on the back of my hand. And then with a brush, you add to those areas where you just lightened with a color slightly lighter than your skin. So again, same areas. The outside corner of the eye, inside corner of the eye. The outside corner of the eye just kind of lifts it, so which makes it airy and glowy and all that stuff. So a little bit under the eyebrow. And I know it's not blended in. We'll do that eventually. Again on the side of the nose, and then on the side of the mouth also. Okay. And just slightly blend it in. And with the pearly iridescent, what it does is it just gives light to the face, but you don't see like a stark white because it has that pinky soft glow, which does just blend into the skin. And what that does, obviously, just soften the fact that it's so bright. Okay, so the second thing, obviously, for bronzy look, you need bronzer. So I'm going to start off with a slightly darker one, so it's kind of contouring. I know you don't contour with bronzer, but if it's matte in the summer, I think it's okay. So I'm just using Give Me Sun by MAC, and I'm just going to add it to kind of like the hollows of the cheek, and slowly buffing it going higher, so it kind of goes dark and then slightly gets lighter. Then going up the temples and into the forehead a little. A little bit at the jawline, just so that this doesn't look so dark, just to kind of soften. A little bit down the bridge of the nose on either side. You never want to get too much on top, even though the sun does hit it. The fact that your nose is the most protruding thing in the face, you don't want to just add bronzer. It just, I think, looks kind of fake. I think bronzer should still be kind of more, when it's such a dark color, more like on the hollows of the face. Okay, so then I switched to a very much softer bronzer, and it's like a lot more like goldy. So what this doesn't really deliver much color or much bronzing. It's more of like a goldy glow. And so I'm going to add that to more of like the high cheekbones. So now we went from the dark to like the softer goldy but still bronzy. And now the third little trick or tip is to use just a gold. So we went from like the brown to like the softer, and now just the finishing really like, so instead of using a highlighter, which we did in the points of the face where we wanted to brighten, here is normally where you would add your highlighter. So like down the bridge of the nose, the top of the cheekbones, just a little bit in the middle of the forehead, maybe some at the chin. But with using the pink pearly iridescent color, I think that's too harsh and too cold for like a warm bronzy summery color. So that's why that the gold, I think, is much more suiting with the whole color scheme of the bronzing. So, but it's still a lot lighter, and all it's going to give you is a shimmer and not a bronze. Tap a little bit. And I'm using a pretty kind of small brush because I want to kind of just tap it on. You know, with shimmer, you don't want to just buff it in. And then I'm just going to add to the cheeks. You don't actually follow the whole bronzing because then I think it's too much, and then you just look glittery all over, and I don't think that's cute, or that's not the look we're going for, obviously. Okay, so the face is pretty much done and glowy and bronzy enough. So another thing with like when you see magazine ads and stuff, and when they're like super bronzy, everyone knows white is pretty much what makes you the most tan. So because obviously it's like a contrasting color and just brings it out. So you'll see like models wearing white, hint, the white shirt, but not just that, but I feel like with the face, so the teeth and obviously the whites of the eyes, if you make them as bright as possible, I think you will look much more just dewy and healthy and summery. So my other trick is to do eye drops, and it just brightens up the eye, and it just makes everything, I feel like, so much softer. So just do that. So I think that was 4, and now the 5th, pretty much last and final step, is with using, you can do a smoky eye obviously with bronzer. This is so basic that of course you can do whatever eye you like, but if you're doing this more for like a day look or maybe the beach, what I like to do to the eye is use like a royal blue eye pencil or liner, and what blue is the complementary color to brown, obviously, so it just brings it all out. And even though it's not necessarily next to it, the blue just brings out your eyes now that you've whitened them or brightened them with eye drops. So the blue just makes your eyes look whiter and therefore makes your skin look more glowy. So just do that. I think it's called Royal Blue by Rimmel. Where'd it go? There it is, I think. Okay. So, like I said, last step is I'm using Cool Blue, not Royal Blue, and it's by Rimmel, and it's just a very soft, so it goes on pretty blue. So I'm just going to line the inner rim, the water line of the eye. And then towards the top, even if you're using like a brown or black liner over the top of the lash line, I just like to just at the outside corner just add a little bit of blue and just kind of smudge it. So you don't actually see, like a blue line on the top, but it does add something to the eye, and it just complements the blue on the bottom waterline. Okay. Following in with the same theme that we've been doing, I'm going to finish off with kind of a peachy, has a hint of orange, but like a bronzy color for the lips. And then I'm just going to do like a bronzy look for the eyes as well. Obviously, those are the 5 tricks. The bronzy eyes is not really a trick, but I think it just kind of follows in the same theme again with just like contouring and bronzing. So I'm just going to use like a pretty matte soft brown just on the lower lids of the eye up until the crease. Same thing on the other eye, obviously. And then again, following that, what we've been doing all over the face, we're starting with the dark and then slowly easing up to like a softer goldy. I'm going to use a coppery, it really just does look like a new penny. So just where it kind of at the crease, and just so that I blend that line so it's not like skin color and then a dark brown, just so you kind of can't tell where it one begins and the other ends. So I'm just kind of doing it towards the outer edge of the eye and kind of bring it in and slightly blending it on top of that. And of course it still looks a little blunt, so we'll soften that line. Okay. And then with a more fluffy brush, I'm just going to use a very nude tone, almost skin color, to the top of that and just kind of bring it down and softening everything. And still avoiding that brow bone because you want that still to be as light as possible where we have already, where we've already added our highlighter. Okay, to finish off the eye, I'd like to curl my lashes and finish off with a little bit of mascara. And I love Turbo Volume mascara by Maybelline. It's so cheap, but I swear I think it's one of the best mascaras that I've used, and it's cheap, so it's awesome. And in the darkest color that you used, we're just going to go a little bit over the chest, a little on the neck, jaw, just so that everything obviously looks uniform and